Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a little discussion video. I used to do these in the past and I haven't done one in a while, but I wanted to give my thoughts on Oen-High. So for those of you who do not know, Oen-High is a survival show that spawned the group AOEN, which is the second Japanese group under High Japanese label YX labels. They used to be just called High Japan labels, I believe, and then they changed to YX labels. But they are the younger brothers of AOEN. And if you don't know me, I love AOEN. They are definitely one of my top 5 old groups. And so I was really excited when I heard about this new survival show because it was circling around that Gaku and Hikaru were gonna make their debut. And if you know AOEN and if you've watched an audition, you know that Gaku and Hikaru were on that show as contestants. And if you know me, you know that I absolutely loved Gaku. He was one of my favorites from And Audition, and I really wanted him to debut in AOEN, but he did not make AOEN. And obviously, I love each and every member of AOEN now, but I was really hoping that Gaku would debut someday, and now he has. But before we get to like the whole how they debuted and all that jazz, I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on the show Oen-High itself. I ended up watching it on my own because the episodes were pretty long and I wasn't sure like how many people would be interested in watching that with me. Also, the videos I was watching were from YouTube and I feel like the subtitles weren't as great or as specific as they could have been. So I just kind of watched it on my own just to, see this group debut. But initially, right off the bat, I really liked how lighthearted it was. Like, it wasn't as serious as past survival shows I have watched. And I've only watched a couple. I haven't watched too many, but I've watched Island, and Island formed Oen-High, and then I also watched And Audition, which formed AOEN. Now, one of the criticisms I had with And Audition was that I thought the judges were really, really harsh on that show. I just felt like some of the comments were like pretty unnecessary and just really hurtful, especially because a lot of the boys on that show were really young. We had a couple of older ones, Fuma and Kei, but like these boys are relatively young and like they want to debut, and I feel like a lot of their comments were just really mean and it wasn't like good constructive criticism to me. The only one who I like was okay with like the criticism he gave was Sota, who I think that's his name. If not, I'll put his picture up here for you guys, but he is one of their main producers, and I felt like his critiques were more like critical. I don't know how to explain it, but like he's a vocal coach, or was the vocal coach kind of for that show. So he was talking mostly about like vocal training, and like the other female judge on that show, I felt like she was really, really harsh. And obviously like it was fun to see at the end, like they really wanted to see their debut and like they saw these boys from the beginning and all that. But like I feel like there was a lot of harsh criticism with the boys on And Audition. And then I also felt like for Island, there was just like a lot of unnecessary drama. And I feel like there was a lot of drama between the contestants when I felt like there really didn't need to be, because eventually these boys are going to be in a group together. And like, I know it's probably to show like, oh, they have to face these challenges and figure out how to like handle them. But like, again, they're very young. And like, I feel like it's just not really accurate of like how life would be outside. Like, obviously there's going to be arguments, there's going to be fights like with any group, but like I don't think it's that deep. So that's why I really liked Oen-High, because it was a little bit lighter. Like, we got to see more of the boys' personalities in this show, and like the challenges weren't as harsh or difficult. Like, I feel like this show really just wanted to see how they progressed as members, and then also to showcase like their personality and their like how they work together as a group. and all that jazz. So I really liked the lightheartedness of this survival show, and it was just really playful, and I feel like it fits like the vibe of the group a lot more as well, because like with their debut, The Blue Sun, it was definitely like a lighthearted, fun song. And yeah, so that was one thing I liked about the show. The other thing I liked about it was that it wasn't that long. Like, there's only 9 episodes, 8 or 9 episodes, I think, at least from how I watched it on YouTube. I don't know how many episodes on Hulu there were, but the last episode was kind of like split up into 2, which I'm going to talk about because I have thoughts on the last episode. But I liked how short it was because I tried watching Boys Planet, but that show is so long and unnecessarily long. Like, episodes don't need to be 3 hours long. Like, so I never ended up finishing Boys Planet because they were just too long of episodes, and I'm not going to watch Boys Planet 2 just because, like, first of all, I don't know what's going to happen with Zero Base 1, and, like, I don't want to fall hard for another group that might not be together for a long time. So, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. But that was my main gripe about that show, is that it was too long. This one, I felt like there was a good amount of challenges, and I feel like, you know, they were kind of closing in on their training and all that stuff. So I feel like it was a good, short, sweet, and concise layout. So, and there was only 3 challenges, really. There is like the first challenge, which was the finish line challenge, which they made a music video with all the trainees that were competing against each other. And then they had a cover of like well-known popular songs of like the past for Japanese groups, which I really like that challenge. I actually liked the songs that they picked for that, and I thought a lot of them did really well, and I liked the looks for that stage and all that, or for those stages. And yeah, I really trial. I also like the first trial because we did get to see how they were in like a music video setting, and like they, you know, they try to be playful and like vlog stuff, and like I feel like that's very accurate to like what they would be doing like once they debut. So I feel like that was like a good test, and like it wasn't too harsh or anything. Like the only things like that I felt were very like kind of harsh were the interim checks, but I feel like those are usually because they're not as polished and stuff like that. So that's kind of like when they'll get their critiques of, and like how they can change that for like the final show or for the final trial. So that was like the only part that I was like, oh, this is a little harsh, but it wasn't that harsh, to be honest. Like I've seen worse like interim checks. So yeah, love the length of the show. One thing that I don't love about like survival shows is that I don't love how they give a taste of like what it could be like to be in a group when there's going to be eliminations. I feel like the survival show, like I don't think survival shows should be a thing. If I'm going to be completely honest, like I don't love survival shows because, for one, there's members that I will fall in love with who don't make the group, and I'm sad that they don't make the group, and I don't know if they will or won't, you know, make it into a group ever. And also, a lot of these boys are really young, so a lot of these challenges are really tough. Some of them don't have a lot of training background. So I feel like the show should really be like, you know, your set people of who you're going to choose, and it should really be about them like growing until they actually debut. Like that's what I think these shows should be. And like we could see like, you know, these are their final like challenges they'll have to do before they make their debut, which brings me to the final episodes. I did not like how they did the final episodes because, so they told us like, oh, there's going to be 5 that are going to be announced now, and then there'll be like the rest of the members who are going to be announced will not be announced now, but in the future. And I'm just like, I don't understand why they did that, because first of all, not everyone is going to have the chance to watch them make their debut. And because this is a Japanese show, so like I had no idea this was how it ended up, and I was like, where am I going to find this final announcement of the final members? And I had to literally like YouTube search it, and I found a video of it, but it's all in Japanese and it's not translated, and I just was like, well, this is kind of annoying. Like, I didn't really love that. So they like announced the 5 members who were voted in. And so I was not pleased by the final 5, if I'm going to be quite honest. And okay, sorry, I have the loudest neighbors on the planet, so apologize. I don't know if you heard that because I have my mic in, but I just have to take a moment real quick. But with the final 5, I was not quite happy because I felt like there were other members who deserved to be in that final 5 based off of their talents and their merit. So the final 5 ended up being Kyosuke. He was the number 1. Then it was Yuju, and then Sota, and then Ruka and Hikaru. Now, I'm happy that Hikaru made it, but from watching the show and watching the final stages, they did 3 stages for the final trial. I honestly wasn't gravitated towards Hikaru in those final moments. I felt like other members stood out to me, and I love Hikaru. Like, I absolutely love him. But as I'm watching the show, he hasn't really stood out to me as some of like more other members have. And he's also really quiet, and which is not a bad thing. Like, Joe from Anteam is like one of the quietest members, but I love Joe, so like he's great. But I just feel like I was wanting more from Hikaru, especially with how long he's been training, and he was also on And Audition, so he's been through this process before. So I was kind of surprised that he was picked over Gaku. My number one. My number 1. And to me, I felt like because of the experience that Gaku has had and all of that, like, I felt like he deserved to be in the final 5. And this is another thing that annoyed the crap out of me. So during the announcement of the final 5, they literally kept comparing him to every other member, and I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be him or Kyosuke. And it was Kyosuke, which, like, Kyosuke definitely deserved that number 1 spot because he really stood out to me. Like, I was really impressed. He killed every single challenge and had very little vocal, like, wavering, and, like, his dancing is so strong, and he just really stood out to me. And I didn't know who he was at all, like, but he really stood out to me. So I was like, okay, like, it makes sense he's number 1. But then I was like, oh, so Gaku must be number 2. And then it was Yuju. And it's like, I liked Yuju. Like, I definitely like him a lot, but I feel like I didn't really see a lot of his personality on the show. I think he's a really good vocalist. I think he's one of the stronger vocalists of the members that are there, and I can kind of see why he was chosen. But I was like, okay, it's not Gaku. So he's probably number 3, because again, they kept showing him and they kept comparing him, and like, they literally kept giving him hope, and I was like, oh my god, this is so annoying. And then Sota was number 3. You see what I mean? Like, I was just so frustrated. And like, Sota, I mean, I understand why he was picked, because he's gorgeous for one, and he also has pretty good vocals, but he's also one of the ones who had less training than a lot of them. So I was just like, oh, I find it interesting that, like, I thought he would have been lower, like, picked. Like, I didn't think he would be picked so high. But yeah, so Soto is number 3. And then Ruka is number 4. And honestly, I think Ruka deserved to be in the final 5, but I thought he would have been picked a little higher. But apparently I have differing opinions than the rest of the people who are voting. And then it was like, they kept going back between Gaku and Hikaru, and like, they had them talk or whatever, and like, all the members talk about, you know, do you think you should be in the top 5 or whatever. And I was like, okay, so it must be Gaku. Like, it must be Gaku. And it was not. It was Hikaru. And like, again, this is no, like, I love Hikaru, and like, I love all the members who are in this group now, but I just did not love how they picked the top 5. So they announced the top 5, and it's like, oh, top 5, yay. But there's still 2 other members who need to be announced. And I was like, okay, when's that going to happen? And they decide they're doing it later. And I was like, are you serious? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, Gaku has already been through this. He already went through this in And Audition. And I'm just like, you're literally putting him through this once again. Like, this is so frustrating. And I felt for Gaku in those moments because he's already been dealt with like a ton of anxiety. And like, I know like he probably felt like it was his time to like finally debut, and then you rip it from him and you don't even let him debut on the live final show. Like, I was so angry, like so angry at that. And so I find the video of where they're announced and like they do a performance, and it's kind of like a continuation of the show, but it's like on this new show, and like I don't know any of these people except Fumo was there and he was watching, and like I don't know anyone else who was on, like none of the other original judges were even there, which I thought was weird. Yeah, they announce, and it's like, again, fan voting, and so Gaku is literally like the next person chosen, and then Rio is the last one. And I didn't love that because I feel like it diminishes their debut. It kind of makes it a little bit less important when it's not on the actual live show and like everyone's watching. Because like I don't know how many people are watching these like televised, like it seemed like a news show, like a news outlet, like I don't know what it was, but it wasn't even translated, so I have no idea. And I don't know if that happens a lot in like Japanese survival shows. It didn't happen that way in And Audition. Like I'm pretty sure they picked all the members like on the live show, and it was like in front of a lot of people, and I wish it was like that. Even the final showing, they didn't have an audience or anything. So yeah, I was just a little peeved at how it ended. But I was still excited that Gaku finally made it. I almost shed a little tear because he was crying, and I was just so happy that he was picked. So if it were my choice, if I got to vote, if I was watching this live, I honestly probably would have chosen Kyosuke as number one. Like that was the one that I was like, I agree with this. Like he definitely deserved that number one spot. Like I totally agree with this. But there's another thing that kind of annoyed me. So they were like, oh, the number one spot is known as like the ace of the group. And I like this whole season, they've been saying like how much Gaku is an ace, like with his dancing and with his rapping and like his visuals and all this and that. Like he is the ace. And then that makes him think, oh, this is gonna be me. Like it's gonna be me. And then it's not. It's Kyosuke. So that was one thing I was really annoyed by. Anywho's, I do like, if it wasn't Gaku, like I think Kyosuke definitely deserved that number one spot. And he was in the top in like a lot of the challenges and stuff. But anyways, so Kyosuke probably my number one. Then it would have been Gaku as my number two, just out of pure like he has to be there. And also just like his background, and he's been through this, all this and that. Like he definitely deserved to be higher up in the rankings, and I was just very unhappy he wasn't. But anyways, I think he should have been number two. I think Ruka should have been number three, because they kept it like, he kept saying like he's been doing this for 17 years, but I looked up his age and he's not, like me thinking he's saying that like, oh, he's been in this for a while, like he's probably one of the older ones, like he's not that much older. And so I was like, did you start as a trainee when you were like 4? Like what in the world? Like, I don't know. Like, I need to learn more about his background because I thought it was interesting that he kept saying that. But anyways, Ruka would have been my number 3. Number 4 would have been Rio. I thought Rio was very strong throughout the whole competition. I thought his vocals were really strong, and I also really liked his personality, and I feel like he meshed well with a lot of the boys. So I feel like he should have been number 4. And then I think Hikaru would have been number 5. So I guess I kind of agree with him being number 5, but like, I thought Gaku should have been picked way earlier on, is what I'm trying to say. So that would have been my top 5 if I could vote. But with all that being said, I am very happy with the final boys. Although, there is one boy from this show that I was like, I fell hard for him. I don't know. There's always that one person. Like for Island, it was Kay. For And Audition, it was Gaku. And none of those made it into those groups. But they have, moved on and made it to their own groups. So I have hopes for this boy in the future, and that is Shin. And if you watched that episode of when he was eliminated, everyone was in tears. Everyone was in tears. And I was like, wow. I did not think he should have been eliminated. I thought honestly, Narumi probably should have been eliminated just because, yeah, Narumi and, was it Haru? Was that his name? Like, I think those two probably should have been eliminated because they had the least amount of training. And, like, Narumi's so cute. He's adorable. Like, he's just a little cutie pie. But I definitely could, like, he definitely needs more training. So I thought those two should have been eliminated in that challenge. But I'm not the judges. But Shin, like, when they were doing the first challenge and, like, doing the little vlog kind of, like, behind the scenes styles that they do on, like, you know, the behind the scenes videos of the music videos, he was so cute and, like, taking charge and, like, just interviewing everyone, and, like, I just felt like he was such a bright light. And, like, I also thought he was a really good dancer. I thought he was a great dancer. I think his vocals probably needed some work, but overall, like, I mean, that can come with time. Like, some of these people that get into these groups, like, don't always start off strong with their vocals. I mean, for one, like, look at Nikki. Look at Nikki from N-Hypen. Like, he was picked because he was a dancer. And obviously now he's, like, fully into his voice. Like, he's hit puberty. So, like, on Island, he was not. He was still a little baby boy. I was so sad when Shin got eliminated. I was like, good gravy. That one really hit hard, and especially seeing how sad everyone was, because, like, you could tell, like, people leaned on him, and, like, he had, like, a leader mentality to me. So I was very surprised by how early he went home. I think that's everything I wanted to cover, because, again, it wasn't as long as the show, and I really appreciated that. But when Shin went home, I had to take a little bit of a break from watching. I was like, I'm upset. I can't watch anymore. And then I almost didn't watch, like, the final members being debuted. Like, if I wasn't able to find an episode, I probably wouldn't have watched it. But I found it, and I kind of, like, sped through it because it was all in Japanese, and I was like, I don't know what they're saying. I listened to Fuma, but I had no idea what he was saying. Nonetheless, very excited for this group, and I hope more people get into them. I hope more people follow them. Like, if you like AOEN, like, you might as well listen to this group. And, like, their debut album, their single album was great. Blue Flame and I think Circle Ring are actually probably my favorite songs off the album. And I love The Blue Sun is, like, a really fun song, and I thought it was a really solid debut music video. So, yeah, very much looking forward to these boys. I think my biases are probably Gaku and Kyosuke, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, Kyosuke really, like, stood out to me. Like, he was so great. And, yeah, I think those two. I don't know, Ryo is he's such a little cutie. Like, he's so cute. And I really love his voice. But yeah, and Sota gives me Hyunjin vibes of Stray Kids. Like, he looks like Hyunjin so much, especially, like, a younger Hyunjin. And he's also, like, Sota seems like he's a pretty good dancer as well. But yeah, so the final members of this group are Gaku, Hikaru, Yuju, Sota, Kyosuke, Ryo. Ruka? Did I say Ruka? I don't think I said Ruka. Yeah. I'll put their picture up here for you guys. But yeah, if you're interested, definitely get into them. There's not that many subscribers on their channel, and part of me wonders if it's because they are debuting as a Japanese group, because I felt like this kind of happened with AOEN. Like, it took a moment before people were following AOEN and, like, paying attention to them more. But honestly, like, they make great music. I don't really care it's Japanese. Like, I'm just vibing, having fun with their music. Like, that's the same thing with K-pop. Like, I don't know all the, like, lyrics of the K-pop song, but I still listen to it and enjoy it. So same goes for J-pop. And I actually like the vibes of J-pop a little bit more. At least with the J-pop groups that I follow, I like their music. And, like, whenever groups do, like, Japanese songs for, like, their Japanese fans, I like the vibes of the Japanese songs a lot. Yeah. So anyways, those are my thoughts on Oen-High. I'm sorry this was kind of all over the place, but that's how these discussion videos work. For me, I kind of just go off on tangents, but I would love to know if you watched Oen-High, who were your favorites? Like, were there some members who didn't make it that you were sad about? Me, Shin, Or are you happy with the final lineup? Again, I'm very happy. Like, I am definitely going to support them, and there will be more content of theirs in the future on my channel. So yeah, just look forward to that. I'm so happy for Gaku and his debut, despite how it went down. I think I'll be salty for that for a while. But yeah, if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, definitely do, but only if you want to. Not forcing you, but it would be much appreciated. And I'll link all of my AOEN reactions that I have. I have a playlist for you guys. I'll link that in the description down below. And I will see you all for the next one. Bye.